tonight. Bill Bush here's the Scizone tonight till the witching hour, about 12 o'clock. I hear that music and I want to get up and dance, some of that techno dance. You know, it's good music. A lot of stuff to cover tonight, things that are beyond belief. Tonight we're going to connect some dots. We're going to cover some 9/11. Yeah. I got to looking at 9/11 as a result of this past week, and a lot of stuff came out that a lot of people are not buying. First, the polls, some things that are happening in the polls. You may not get this, but the poll finds that the registered voter, by the way, this is Biden better prepared. This is what it found. It finds that the registered voter continued to wonder whether Palin, a first-term Alaskan governor, is qualified to set up the job as president as Obama running mate. Joe Biden, who has been in the Senate for more than 3 decades, and the majority of the voters, 60%, think Biden is qualified to be president, while 31% think he's not qualified. By comparison, 48% think Palin is qualified, and 44% think he's not qualified. I don't think any of the people running are qualified to be president. Now, you ask, Bill, why do you say that? Simple. They're not. They're a bunch of empty suits and empty girdles, as far as I'm concerned. They just don't cut it. By the way, before I forget it, there is a video out on the internet. I don't know if you guys seen it or not. It's big in England, but not around here. If you remember, because as it happened, I watched it and I was thinking the same thing. If you'll remember the Republican night that he introduced her to the audience. Remember that? He brought her out and he was standing over to her right, which was screen, it was on the left side of your screen, and he was applauding and all that stuff. But he kept looking down at her bottom, like, yeah, you're going to definitely be the vice president, all right. You have to see it. If you get a chance, take a look at him looking at her. It really is a breaker. I laughed till I cried when I saw it. And the guy, of course, put some raunchy music to it and all that stuff, and you can imagine what that was like. But it was funny. It was a funny piece, thanks to the wannabe president. A lot of things happening at 9/11. My good friend Fitzer, Jim Fitzer, couldn't be here tonight. He's in California doing an election and so forth, and could not get here. And I called and talked with him a great deal about it, and I asked him about one of the persons that I'm going to talk about in the next, later on tonight. We'll get some information about her. Her name is, and you may want to get a pencil and paper and write this down, because I found it. You need to go look it up. You need to go look this story up and do your own conclusions. Her name is Indira Singh, S-I, there she is, that's her. That's her name. You can look her up in Google. She is a whistleblower. And I'm going to get to her story in a little bit and what she's about to do, because it's extremely important. I'm watching and seeing the repercussions from that already. I don't know if you, this is kind of far-fetched. A gentleman sent me a thing here about Obama, and he's complaining. I really don't care. He asked if I had any thoughts on this, and I do, and this is it. He says the old man, Barack Hussein Obama, is an eloquent, tailored, empty suit. No resume, no accomplishment, no experience, and no original ideas. No understanding of how the economy works, and no understanding of how the world works. Nothing but abstract, empty rhetoric devoted to devoid of real substance. I have to agree with him. That was my observation. He has no real identity. He is half white, which he rejects. The rest of him is mostly Arab, which he hides, but is disclosed by his non-African Arabic surname, the middle name, and so on and so forth. What isn't not a genetic drop of African American descendant? The enslaved Africans brought to America chains and slaves. He hasn't a singular ancestor who was enslaved. Instead, his Arab ancestors are slave owners, slave traders, and so on and so forth. This is supposed to be insightful. It is very insightful historically. But to answer your question, my feelings about it, in the first part of it, it was right. I don't think that he's qualified any more than I think any of the other candidates are qualified that are Republican or Democrat. That's something that we could debate from now on. My feelings about it is just that simple. So if you're wanting me to tell you that I'm going to vote for him, no. Am I going to vote for McCain? No. I will vote independent. And that brings me to another story. This week, I got a call from Obama's people, and they wanted to know how I was going to vote. And the gentleman was very attentive. I told him that I would not be voting the way he would pursue, pursuant to our conversation. I told him, I said, I'll be voting independent. And I thought maybe he would drop it and go away, but he wanted to talk. So I figured he got somebody online. He might as well talk to him. So anyway, he said, are there any questions that you would like to have the candidate answer? Which just opened the door for me. I said, as a matter of fact, if, and by the way, this guy is local. I hope because I invited him to watch tonight. There is a question that I would love to have the candidate address. It's his, the lawsuit that he has been filed against him by Philip Brigg in federal court, asking the judge to stop him from running until we can find out if, in fact, he is a citizen. And I know some of you out there right now are just throwing things at the television. You're upset with me, and that's what this is all about. Would I vote for Obama? No way. There's too much that's not answered about it, and I'll leave it go at that. But the lawsuit, by the way, if that gentleman is watching tonight, and I hope he is, and for those of you, he told me that he hadn't heard anything about it, and I said, I don't doubt that. He's certainly not going to make this known to his public and does not want it known that people are questioning his candidacy because of his birthplace and where he was born and where he's been and how he got to be a lawyer and all that other stuff. Methinks somebody lied somewhere along the way, and you don't have to take my word for it. We'll take a break, come back, and we got more to do. And your telephone calls, 381-3838, jump in. We'll be right back after this. Don't you go away. Oh, you know what? Before they do that, hold on, guys. Don't take me to break. Please, we've got a gentleman answering the phone tonight. Be kind. Tell him where you're calling from. And when you get on, would you please turn your television down and listen on the phone? It's disturbing. We'll be right back. We'll be with you shortly. Back. Hey, glad you joined me again. Bill Boshears in the Scizone tonight, talking about the first topic up is Obama. I don't know a good place. We got Tommy Joe and John and Rick and all the rest of them out there, and your phone calls tonight. We'll be happy to listen and intercede here. Let's go first to Tommy Joe. You're there, sir.
Hello, Mr. Boshers. The independent that you're going to vote for,
yeah.
What party would that be with? Would it be Nader?
I haven't made my mind up yet.
Or Bob Barr or the other guy?
I haven't made my mind up yet.
Now, on the last election, did you also vote independent?
Yes, I did.
Who would you think that we could vote for as an independent that would win?
Who do I think we could?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to have. I'd like to look at the doctor a little closer.
Ron Paul?
Ron Paul.
Yeah. But he's out of it now, though.
Well, we'll see.
I think Bob Barr took over the Libertarian Party now.
Well, he may have, and that may be where I have to vote, but...
have you heard of a Mike Gravel?
No, I haven't.
He's a minister wanting to run for president.
I don't want to have anything to do with that. I don't care about that.
Well, I mean, I'm just telling you that.
I know you are, and I appreciate that, but I wouldn't be...
But I have one other thing to say. This New World Order that you're talking about,
This new what?
The New World Order that you've mentioned in the past.
New World Order.
The New World Order, yes. And stuff that you've mentioned when you was on the radio station and the Trilateral Commission.
Yeah.
Isn't the secret government that actually is what's running the United States, So isn't this just all for show, the Obama and McCain and all this stuff? Isn't Bush a puppet? Seriously.
I don't think that there's a... I cannot identify, but I do know... I can't identify the trilateral and all that stuff. I'm sure they're there.
I mean, but
my point, let me, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm convinced that America is corporately run and corporately owned.
By the Trilateral Commission. I've talked to you about this in Forest Park before.
As far as I'm concerned,
years ago.
We are trading right now on very thin ice, and I'm not the least bit happy with any of it. And this country's in bad shape.
Yeah,
and my point is, I don't think any of these people that I've heard have a clue.
And it's all foreigners that are all owning all the companies are owned by foreign countries now. The Chinese just about owns everything in the United States. We owe them a lot of money. The government owes the Chinese. We borrowed from the Chinese. Am I not right?
Oh, yeah, they own a great deal of our debt. Anyway, I got to move along, but I appreciate it, Tommy.
Well, have a blessed evening, sir.
Thank you. Let's go to John. John, you're on the air.
Hey, Bill.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Thank you, sir.
I was just wondering, if it turns out that Obama is legitimately a citizen and everything, do you have any intentions of, apologizing to calling him a moron and stuff?
No, I'm just looking at it as a newsworthy idea. And a news, would I apologize for
calling him a moron?
I called him a moron?
Yeah.
I called him an empty suit. But if you think moron, that's okay with me.
No, I mean, you did call him a moron. Maybe you don't remember.
I may not remember, but if I did call him that, I'll apologize. When he comes in and sits down on the show, I'll be happy to. I'll apologize to his face.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, if somebody asks you who you're going to vote for, it's really none of their business.
That's true. That's very true. Like I wouldn't ask you.
Cool. All right. You have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to Rick. Rick, you're on the air.
How you doing, Bill?
Doing all right, sir.
Okay. This may be a little bit way out there for some people, but
go ahead.
The name Barack, when you look it up, and from a Hebrew to English transliteration, it means in vain or thunder, okay? And it kind of explains, if we're looking at it in this way, it kind of explains his great speaking skills, and that he just may be, like you said, just that, an empty suit with a lot of empty words.
Well, I'll tell you, the empty suit is sort of a metaphor, but the idea that he has no experience is not, it's a reality. There's no original ideas. This man hasn't had one. And he doesn't have an understanding of how the economy works. If he did, and he was watching it, let me tell you, what they're saying in these events would be more telltale of what they know. They're looking at the rah, tell you what you want to hear. We don't have any jobs.
Right.
And he's addressed that, and that's a great idea. But where are you going to get them? How are you going to create them? Don't run at me with, well, we're going to educate people. People don't want to be educated. They want a job. And if it's manufacturing, good. Let me give you an idea of how bad it is. And this will lead into the other thing that I'm doing later tonight. When you first read this, and when I first read it this week, I went, wow. The stock market fell sharply around the world with further evidence of weakness in the U.S. job market, riveted worried about the health of global economy. When our job market is down, the stock market in London lost 70, I forget what it was now, 120 some points. It fell 100, the index fell 121.4 points because we have high unemployment. Do you realize how important that is? And our wannabe presidents haven't addressed the issue of that part of the economy. Well, it's strictly that kind of thing.
Well, I understand, and that's why it struck me kind of off-centered, I guess, about the transliteration of his name, meaning in vain or thunder. And we know that thunder doesn't hurt anyone. Lightning actually has a physical effect, but thunder doesn't have a physical effect.
Well,
anything in vain.
It sounds good. A lot of people got a lot of good ideas about it. People want to think that there's some guidance or some epiphany that's going to happen. He's going to come in, sweep in, and everything is just going to happen. I'm sorry, I don't see it that way. There's a lot of work, and you've got to have some background and knowledge of international, like this Palin. I can't even begin to imagine her with her her religious view of abortion, being president.
Right, I understand.
I mean that scares the hell out. I'll tell you what, if she gets to be president, you watch how fast Roe versus Wade gets reversed.
Exactly.
Anyway, I appreciate it, Rick. Thank you, sir.
Can I say one more thing, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I have to be fair about this because we're looking at McCain's name too. McCain's name, we know that biblically Cain was considered the first murderer. And not calling McCain that, but I'm saying that his name would fit what's going on around the world now as far as America's global quest for domination.
Interesting view, Rick. It's an interesting point. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Let's take a pause in the action. We'll come right back with your phone call, 381-3838. I'd like to hear from you tonight. We were talking about some of the things that are going on with the economy. Some people are definitely afraid of Obama and Brzezinski, who would allow another thing going on. There is this statement which reads in this excerpt, there's a sense of sacred obligation that, frankly, and this is Obama saying this, that we have lost during the last two wars, Obama said, and I want to restore that. But it also is important for the presidents to speak to military and as obligation, not of some, but of many. You know, I've traveled, obviously, a lot over the last 19 months, and if you go to small towns throughout the Midwest, Southwest, and South, every town has tons of young people who are serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's not always the case in the part of the country. In most urban centers, I think it's important that for the president to say, it's important for obligations. If we're going to war, then all of us go, not just some. I think if you read that again, I think you're looking at Mr. Obama would like to put the draft back in. If we read that and get into it, I think he's looking at it or flirting with it, or maybe that'd be a part of it. Let's go back to the phones. Your telephone calls, 381-3838. Somebody hangs up, jump in. Don, you're on the air.
Yeah, good evening, Bill.
Good evening, sir.
Number one, be careful, put your helmet on tonight. It's a full moon.
I am sure it will be.
Okay, the other day when I was at work, I sat down in the cafeteria on my hour lunch. And I was listening to the, politics going on TV, so was everybody else. And I explained to him how, there's being a lawsuit brought against Obama. Oh, my God, I was like a bumblebee in a hornet's nest. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, nobody wants to hear that.
Oh, nobody wanted to hear it.
It's ObamaCrimes.com.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned that last week with Betty? Wasn't that her name?
Yeah, yeah.
And I told them that, and they said, well, that's a Republican. I said, wait a minute, you're not seeing the whole point. I said, what if he really is? They said, well, we need to change the Constitution. That scared the hell out of me. No, absolutely not.
We don't change any Constitution. Schwarzenegger wanted to do that.
Yeah. And they said, well, what's the big deal? I said, the big deal is at least right now with the Constitution, if they're that crooked, if they're lying, cheating, stealing, thieving, we can see it. We can find it out.
Let me bring you up to speed. He got served late last week. This week he had a meeting with Bill Clinton. And I can bet you what was said at that meeting was about this lawsuit. What do I do, Mr. Clinton? And yes, Bill's decided he's going to help him.
Yep.
Well, get ready. That don't mean jack squat to Bill Clinton.
Nope.
We're looking at something that ain't going to go away until, Bill Clinton appointed the judge that is hearing this case, this federal judge.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill may call him and say something to him, but I don't think that's going to, it might happen, I don't know. But if it doesn't come up and people vote for him, how do you plan on getting this person out of office?
Exactly.
And by the way, if he is not a citizen of the United States, which he claims he is, and that's fine, you've got the IRS looking at him now for all of the money that he has raised surreptitiously. And for the people who are supporting him, running around and calling me and all the rest of these people donating money, you may have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it looks like the IRS is going to be doing some flaying, doesn't it?
Well, they're going to want their pound of flesh one way or the other.
And you know how they work. They're going to get it one way or another.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to stay up to base, just give that website to the guys at the water cooler Monday morning.
Okay.
They'll appreciate that for you, Don.
Well, I hope I got another stinger with me. Have a good evening, Bill.
You too. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Bob, you're on the air, sir. Go ahead. Hello, Bob. Bob?
Yeah, hey, Bill.
Doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well myself also, except for the fact that you're absolutely correct about the employment problem. I'm still laid off after 3 months. But that's not what I called about. I don't know if you're going to touch on this later on in the program or not, but I happen to notice, and maybe I hope it's just not me, but when they unveiled those 140-something benches in front of the Pentagon for the memorial.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's just me, but they kind of seemed like they were in the shape of a half-buried missile, if you look at the profile of them.
Oh, I did not notice, sir.
You'll have to try and catch that on CNN or something and look at that. But yeah, it's the shape of the bench is rather unique, and I thought they looked like like I said, the shape of a half-buried missile. But hey, yeah, check that out. And
I'll do it. And by the way, you check out that inauguration speech. No, check out that inauguration speech of when he introduced Phelan.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're talking about that when the video that's on YouTube.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Let's go to Harvey. Harvey, you're on the air, sir.
Hey, I got two quick things, and then you can respond. First one, you're saying you're going to probably go third party. Well, we all know third party candidates is throwing your vote away. I've heard a lot of people saying, I don't like
I'm not throwing my vote away.
Or McCain, so I'm not even going to vote. them people that don't vote, or the people that throw their votes away by voting third party, they ain't got nothing to complain about when one of them two get in office, and they don't like the one in the office more than the other.
I'm not complaining. Go ahead.
The other thing is this Roe versus Wade thing. Well, I know a guy who's sitting in jail because he was definitely wrong. He had a car wreck because he was a drunk driver. He was definitely wrong. The lady was pregnant. He got charged for involuntary manslaughter on the baby. How can our government say it's okay to kill a baby and at the same time say it's not okay to kill a baby? It's a baby or it's not a baby. Which is it? How can you put a person in prison for not killing?
Harvey, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about. I don't quite understand you, but that's okay. I don't know anything about anybody killing anybody on a base, or a baby, or a woman pregnant, anything else. It's not hardly in the subject matter, but I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you. Let's take a pause. You want to do that break right now? Let's take a break. We've got lines open if you want to jump in. 3838, 381, 3838. Jump in. I'll be here in a minute. Hurry back. Got a couple of more calls. We're going to take a couple more calls on Obama, then we're going to move on. We're going to change horses here in the middle of the stream. And I've got an update from Iraq for information about Iraq for those of you, the investors, are looking at it. Let's go first to John. John, you're there, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well, sir. Glad to have you.
I'm going to try to get through a few points here and make it snappy because I know you.
Let's do, please.
But real quick, you mentioned Bill Clinton before, and the one thing that I know that this is irrelevant now, but I'd never hear anyone talk about the fact that he, ignored the '93 Trade Center bombing, basically, and the embassy bombings and the coal. He chucked missiles into nowhere. So it led up to all this, and now we're facing this election between someone that's got 50 years of military and political experience versus somebody that has nothing, even though I wish we had more choices. But how do you think Obama's going to handle the Russians in this new Cold War?
He's not. He has. That's my whole point. John, you have just made the point. He has no experience. I don't even know if he's been anywhere near Russia, knows anything about them. He's traveled around this great country of ours, and he's run his mouth, and he's talked about change and empty rhetoric. Well, he has no experience.
I totally agree. I mean, I think that the American people are finally starting to realize that they're getting sick of the chants and the cheers. It's getting old. We need to really find out what he is.
Let me say something. I don't believe anything the man says. First off, he's a politician, and politicians lie. That right there is first strike.
And lawyers too.
And lawyers too. That's two strikes. And the fact that he's not a Muslim. He is a Muslim. I don't really care. I'm not going to vote for him. But if you vote for him, and suddenly we find out that he is or has characterizations and likes the Muslim faith and all that stuff, we're looking at terrorists who, by the way, were not Baptist. I hate to bring this up. The poor Baptists get beat up for everything. But all those people who bombed all that, run into the building and did all that, were Muslims or whatever they were from Saudi Arabia. I don't want anybody in the president like that. I'm sorry. It's just me.
Well, I don't either, and nobody really knows what he is. I mean,
he don't know himself. Hell, he can't show me a birth certificate of where the hell he was born.
And that's one question I was going to ask this last, but real quick, I wanted to ask you. I know that he's born in Kenya. I've been listening to your show, and I believe that. I went to Obama Crimes and
go to that. Well, yeah, Obama Crimes. That's all you got to do.
I went there, and But the question I have is, let's say that they fake every document and say that he was born in Hawaii. Will his when he went to Indonesia for what, 8 years?
Something like that.
And I think I don't know if he transferred his citizenship or not.
I don't think I
don't even know if he had it to begin with.
Well, according to the documents that I read, you cannot have dual citizenship in Indonesia.
Well, okay. Well, that's what I wanted to know is, like, can you switch countries and sides and then come back?
No.
And become the president?
No.
You know?
No.
Even if you were born here?
No, you can't do. I mean, if you give up your citizenship and you come back and you reaffirm your citizenship by swearing an oath and all that stuff, and it's registered, then you can recollect it. But this man never had it to start with. His mother didn't do it.
I agree.
All right.
One quick thing that I just real quick, I just wanted to say something that somebody else said to me. When's the last time you seen 200,000 screaming Germans? You know, it was under Hitler. You never seen anything like that. Our enemies are for Obama, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And then his plans
the people that are going to vote, which is depressing, they haven't found out that he doesn't know anything. They're voting because they think he's slick, or they think he's cool, or that he's glib and he can speak.
He can talk well, and behind it is nothing. And the last thing that I just want to say, and I'll make it real snappy, his plans for this nation, these taxes and this government control, is it not socialism?
He's a liberal, and that's where it's headed, brother. I appreciate the call, John. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
You got it. Let's go to Lee quickly. Lee, you're there.
Hey, Bill. How you doing?
Doing well, sir.
First of all, this election to me is worthless. I don't see any difference in either candidate.
You're absolutely right. Nothing is nothing.
I don't see any difference in the Republican and Democratic Party anymore. What has happened in the world is the middle class so slowly is being phased to the bottom to, I don't know whether to make the rich seem richer or to steal more money from us or whatever.
Well, they're trying to get us down there so that we can support the corporate fascist society that is being set up in corporate America government. Our legislators no longer work for us. They work for corporations, and we have to put up with that. I'm for throwing everybody out or hanging them.
What they need to have happen in this country is a military coup where the Congress and the Senate are tried for treason.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more, but boy, that's a hell of an order. But I appreciate your intention, Lee. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for the show, Bill. Bye.
Got it. Let's go to John. John, you're there, sir.
Yes, sir. My comment is, hello, Bill.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my comment is about Obama and how he's leading the American people. He, to me, seems like Adolf Hitler leading the people down the wrong path in history, and you would think people have enough sense to pay attention to what's going on.
People rather believe a myth than the truth.
Absolutely.
You can tell a lie, tell it long enough, and they'll believe it. If you look at what he says, there's no substance to it. But don't take my word for it. Hell, go read his speeches.
Oh, I understand totally, Bill.
I mean, I look like an idiot sitting here ranting and raving about this, when in fact I have one vote, but it's collective. I will vote, and my voice collectively with you or with whoever, if we can get that together and focused, this could be the meaning of something very meaningful. But otherwise, everybody, well, I'm going to vote. Everybody wants to vote for a winner. Everybody wants to be on a winning team. I'm convinced that that ain't going to happen. We all can't be winners. That's just the way life is. I'm sorry. And by the way, it is not a racist thing. It's a culture thing.
Well, also, Bill, the American people, they just don't get it. The only way they're ever going to get anything, even with the terrorists, if Los Angeles or New York City is nuked. That's the only way they're ever going to get it.
You wait till this next segment. Listen up on this next segment.
Thank you, Bill.
You got it, brother. Now, do you want to take a pause in the action right now or what? Let's do a pause. We'll come right back. Bill Boshears, the waning moments we've got here. I'm going to give you a website, and Dave will get it up there a little later, and you can write it down. It's www.911busters.com. And the reason I'm giving you that is that I want you to go there and Google a woman's name, Indira Singha. And you can go there on that website and you can see a 30-minute video that will absolutely blow your mind. Here's the deal. Let me get these phone calls out of the way and we'll get right into it. Paul, you're on the air, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You're on the air. Quickly.
Hey, Bill. Paul from Arizona.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
With an update.
Go right ahead.
You remember the troops that came in across the Mexican border?
Yes, sir.
The local prosecutor is seeking the death penalty in it.
Oh, they caught all of them and they're seeking the death penalty.
Yeah, they're going to seek the death penalty. However, Janet Napolitano, our governor, has not done anything to help fortify our borders against any more crossings from these type of groups.
Man, you've got to get that lady out. You've got some voting to do there.
Well, we'll go ahead and let you go so you can take care of your other callers.
You got it, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the update. Thank you, sir. All the way from Arizona. Thank you. Let's go. Let me give you this. Indira Singha, you will see in this clip. We don't have the clip here. It's about 30 minutes, and you need to sit and watch it. When you hear it, you are going to be amazed. Now, let me connect some dots. I'll give you a quick overview of who she is. This lady was working for J.P. Morgan, and her job was to watch the company and find out any leaks or flaws it might be or that might happen, and to prevent it from happening and bring it up. She was interested in money laundering, and as they should be, and she decided that she would build a program, and she decided that it was too sophisticated for her, so she asked her colleagues, and they gave her a name of a company. She went out, contacted the company, brought them in. While they were in her office, her colleague called her back and said, "Are they in?" She said, "They're here now." And they said, "Whatever you do, don't leave them in your office alone. Get them out of there as soon as you can, and don't let them take anything from the office." Make a long story short, that company proved to be, and I'll tell you the background of it, it's called, if you're not familiar with this, you may want to look this up too, Promise. It was called the Promise Software. There is a book it's called Crossing the Rubicon, and it has 11 chapters on Promise Software. Promise Software allows the user of it to go into a company, anybody, and it was the way they got it from the guy who made it he died suddenly, and the people who covered the story, they wound up dying. So Promise Software has a history of that. You can go look all this up. I'm not telling you something that's not there. Quickly, this is it. Indira was working at J.P. Morgan at the time in the World Trade Center. She is an MT specialist, emergency medicine, and was at ground zero when that happened. She was late going to work, and thank God she was. When she explains herself in this clip, or in this 30-minute presentation, of how the company fought her tooth and nail once they discovered the company she didn't enter into a contract with, but were Saudi-based. It is the most intriguing thing I've ever come up against. Some of their clients was Security Exchange Commission, Enron, United, the Pentagon. If you've noticed the companies that I'm talking about here, let me give you a list of them. Enron, United Airlines, the Pentagon. By the way, the Pentagon has lost $3.2 trillion. Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, B of A, bank in France. It goes on and on and on. When she interviewed them, they gave them a list of their clients, which happened to be Security Exchange Commission, AB AMRO, Sprint, Enron, U.S. Forest, IBM, Aetna, IRS, FAA, Citco, NavAir, Department of Energy, the Post Office, Price Waterhouse, Edward Jones, United States Air Force, the Navy, and it goes on and on. Here is my point. Their job in this little company was to make software of a very high intelligence, using artificial intelligence, if you will, to go in and run the computers behind the scenes, to go in and observe any action going on in a bank, unbeknownst to anybody. They put a trap door in it, supposedly, or could have, and got into the banks and to some of the companies. The Security Exchange Commission in 9/11, we know that American Airlines and United stock was shorted. Somebody bought it to sell it when it went in the toilet. It went down and they sold it. Well, when you ask the Security Exchange Commission to tell you who did that, they won't tell you. It's in Europe. Somebody did it in Europe. This Ptech is the name of the company, had worked for the Security Exchange Commission. There it is. Ptech is known for creating this highly sophisticated software that is behind the scenes and operating. If it is operating, it has the ability to watch for the Security Exchange Commission people making odd buys or a lot of buys that are not, they're out of the kilter, and it would send up a red flag. It's interesting that, as you will hear in this piece, the day that they raided Ptech was December the 6th, 2002. Ari Fleischer in the White House was giving them a clean bill of health. What I'm telling you is that there is a system operating behind the scenes in our economy to take us down. Whether you believe what I'm telling you tonight or not doesn't matter one iota to me until you understand what was done at J.P. Morgan. They got rid of her. She's a whistleblower. We'll do a break, come right back and take your phone calls. 381-3838. Jump in. The track record of some of the people who employed Ptech, Enron, the Pentagon, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, B of A, you know they're in trouble now. There's a bank in France that's caught a guy for trading. Anyway, if you will take time to go to 911busters.com and look up her name, you're going to see something that is very frightening. Once you understand it, it's scary as hell. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry, you're there, sir.
Yes, Bill. What I wanted to do was kind of explain that short sell a little bit. Those folks in Europe did not own any of the stock, and they sold it, even though they didn't own it.
Exactly. They bought it.
Very expensive.
It was, it certainly was.
And then after 9/11, the price went way down, and then they bought it to cover what they sold. And the difference between what they sold it for when it was inexpensive and what they bought it for when it is expensive is
Now,
what went in their pocket.
Let me explain something that just happened. It's something called Bear Stearns.
Yes.
Bear Stearns went from a $50 stock to nothing in a week.
Yes.
You can't dismantle a company that quick.
I would like to see the people who sold that short also.
Well, you can't see it because the Security Exchange Commission won't give that to you, but we know something's happened. I believe, this is my opinion, I believe that the company like Enron, the Pentagon, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, Bank of America, these people have this software operating. And if I was a member of Bank of America, I'd be looking at my computer so fast it'd make your head swim. And the people at Bear Stearns, it's too late for them. Lehman Brothers is up for sale too now. And you're going to see more and more of this. You don't need to have a terrorist attack in this country if you can destroy the economy from within using this software. The company, Ptech, was an Arab or Saudi-sponsored company.
Well, you know, that's how the former Soviet Union went under. They went under economically.
I got less than 1 minute. I appreciate your call, Jerry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let's try. I'll try. Jim, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
Quickly.
You talk about. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to ask you something, Bill.
Quickly.
My son's been in the service for 23 years. He's been over in Iraq twice. He said, what they do, they drop a big helicopter down every Wednesday that has these 6 big satchel bags of old American money in it. I mean,
I got to run, but I appreciate it. Call me next week and tell me the story. I'm Bill Boshears. This is the Scizone. We're here every week. Don't fail to be here next week. It's going to get deep. We've got more and more of it. It's happening faster than we can do it. Join me next week.